Put the phones on mute.
You can just log in.
Yep.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Open Mic Foundation. Thank you so much for joining us. It is a Sunday afternoon in South Africa and a very beautiful, hot day. I just want to welcome everybody to today's talk. There's been a lot of excitement happening around the foundation and the exhibition that is going to be featuring its first launch through its first concept. Last week, we had the storytellers that joined us on the exhibition. And today we have the artist that's featuring today. And we decided to split them because, you know, you have a set of storytellers and their stories and their journeys, and then you have the artist that creates the magic and the imagination of people and to see what is it that they express through stories. So quite a unique concept. And it is quite a concept that embraces oneself. So I want to welcome everyone and thank you so much for joining. I'm going to ask each of the artists firstly to introduce themselves. What do they do? And basically the type of art that they do and where are they based. So Tsepo, over to you first.
All right. So, hi everyone. My name is Tsebo Chokwe. I stay in Krugersdorp, but I was born in Lovestown. So I moved quite a lot. Generally, as a person, I study digital design at Vega currently. I'm doing my second year. As an artist, I branch myself quite a lot. Like I write, I draw, I dance. So yeah, those are my artistries, I guess, in a nutshell.
Thank you so much. Bridget?
Cool. Hello, everyone. I'm Bridget Morema. I am a sculptor, installation artist, and painter. Yes, so I'm studying at UP University in Victoria. And yeah, cool.
Thank you so much. Natasha?
My name is Natasha Ungara. I'm an artist, and I say I'm an artist very broadly because I love playing in all forms of art. From sculpture to painting to illustration to art therapy, I dive into it all. I'm born and bred in Joburg, and I now live on a plot in the south of Johannesburg with my family.
Fantastic. Thank you, guys. So we are missing two of the artists today. Unfortunately, it seems like they have connectivity signal. So it is quite challenging for them at the moment. So if they do come on, you might just see an extra face that does pop in. All right. So let's start with you, Tepo. I don't want to hold the talk for everyone. So let's start. Tepo, let's talk about you. I mean, you're going to be doing some poetry at the exhibition. Absolutely. Yes. I mean, I've published one of your poetry at the previous journal, and absolutely beautiful words that was expressed. And I just wanted to share with everybody, you know, what inspires your poetry specifically, and is this way of expressing who you are, or how has that helped you as a poet? You know, poetry, people express what they've been through, people see what they go through. So sometimes, you know, you get different various of poets out there. So we just want to hear your angle of how poetry has helped you as well.
So basically the two poems that I sent the Open Mic Foundation, I guess the first one was inspired by just woman brutality, abuse, and so forth. And then the second one was it was called Proven. So in a way that I had to prove myself in life in some sort of way. But I guess I get the inspiration of all of my poems based on all the things that I go through in my life. When I realized what I wrote for the first poem about women and abuse and brutality, I could never really understand what a woman truly goes through. And I wouldn't say that, you know, yes, I know how a woman feels, a woman sees when they are abused or certain things like that, but I wanted to see it through a woman's eyes, their perspective of what they're actually going through. And then I decided to write that poem. So a lot of the times, you know, it's something that we have faced as a country for a long, long time, that I decided, you know what, I don't think I've said a mouthful. So let me just use my best device, which was going straight into it, and writing poetry. So then I decided, okay, cool, I'm going to do this. But most of my poems genuinely come from the heart. I always feel as if, you know, in life that you need to be genuine with what you write. I'm not the person that really tends to write about money I don't have, or cars that I've never driven, or houses that I've never actually lived in. So it's just truly what I experience in my life, or if certain families and friends experience it with me, then it becomes a true testament to actually what I'm writing. And without that, I don't think I could ever write any further. So that's what really inspires my writing.
Fantastic. And how has poetry helped you through that expression, right? So how has that particularly has helped you?
I think it's given me a lot of self-confidence, like with who I am, and particularly with other people as well, because I get to not only like sit back, but to actually get into someone else's shoes for a bit. And then like I spend like 5-10 minutes before actually writing, just trying to figure out, okay, like what's this person been through? How can I help? How does that help me? And how does that kind of change my perspective? So it's given me a lot of self-confidence. I feel a lot more happier when I'm writing. That's why I tend to tell Rudo that a year or a month doesn't really go by where I don't pick up a pen or my notepad and just write. So
okay, beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing. You know, we don't acknowledge poets in this country. You know, we really don't acknowledge poets, and we take it for granted how powerful words actually mean. I myself know that for me, words is one of these things that holds power, and it holds power in order to take the power back as well. So thank you so much for sharing that. And I'm looking forward to your piece. I know you went live on Instagram with Rudo in the week, and what a fantastic response we got out of the viewers. So so people that don't know, we're actually having a youth bonfire around June, where we're going to invite the youth over a typical fire, and we're going to be actually inviting the youth to come through, hosted by some of the guys in the foundation itself. And we're going to have people like yourself to come and express, and for the youth to showcase, you know, what it's all about as well. So we hope for you to be part of that as well, Tepo. Thank you so much for joining, hey.
no
and looking
problem.
forward to your piece that you're going to be sharing on the 28th as well. It's some brilliant work that you've been doing. So well done to you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks. Bridge, over to you. You're on mute.
Okay,
There you go.
Cool. Well, Shaneshni, thank you so much for this opportunity. Like, I'm entirely grateful for being part of this program. And yeah.
So yeah, you know, I think as well, you know, sometimes, you know, I've been saying this, you know, you have this vision, and I had this vision about this exhibition 6 months ago. And I sit here today and I'm thinking to myself, we are actually doing this, right? You know,
it's happening.
We're doing this, like literally we're doing this, right? And people say dreams are just dreams, and not realizing that dreams do come true if you have put in the effort, if you know, to reaching out to people like you guys, you know, the kind-hearted people that you meet every day. And if it wasn't for yourselves and the storytellers, this would not have been real. So I don't think you guys know what you've done as well. So it's not just me thanking me, but it's also about thanking you guys as well. And it's about creating magic, right? Creating magic that people have not seen before. So
Yeah.
Bridget, what inspires your art?
Well, I must say, like, if I can tell my story from the beginning, I never used to be good at anything really. I was
Yeah.
always curious. I was a curious kid. I always asked questions about why is things happening, and always wanting to know a bit more about my own experience.
Mhm.
And it really actually started with the death of my father when I was at the age of 13.
Mhm.
And it happened in biology class. And we were tasked to actually draw pictures of a pigeon and a mouse and a lizard. And the first image I had to draw and analyze was a fish, actually. And as I drew like the picture of a fish, it was I surprised. I was so surprised that this image is so, you know, it just came naturally, just drawing this biologically figure of a fish. And I remember walking out of biology class thinking, what the hell just happened? Like a complete shift from, it was almost like my father's last gift to me, from death, there was a rebirth. And ever since that day, I couldn't stop drawing, I couldn't stop painting. And from, I ended up being a painter, but I felt so limited in painting, and I wanted to really like touch my sculptures. Like I just wanted to like become like really like physical and just be able to, really feel my way through, where I discovered sculpture. I also realized that sculpture was a very expensive material, and even to get to have a course in sculpture was, it was a lot. And then I weighed up my options. I'm like, okay, if I go to university, I can use their equipment, I can and I can learn this thing about sculpture, which was actually a lot less than participating in a course. So joining into university, I got exposed to glass at UT, and oh my goodness, I just fell in love with glass. Like there was something about it, that just glass and steel, that just sort of, it made me free, and I could really use that material to create my own worlds. Because to me, I'm a very introverted person, and I experience so much things in my head, and the only way
I can relate. Listen,
yeah.
I can relate. I think Natasha can relate, and I think Tepu can also relate, right? Because artist literally lives in their head, right? It's like so. You're an introvert. I'm a total extrovert, and I still in my head. It just needs to come out. Needs to come out, And I'll contact Kimmy, or I'll go to my son, or I'll contact Rudo, and I'm like, okay, it needs to come out. I need to tell it to somebody. Somebody just listens to me, right? Because you don't know what to do with this, right?
Yeah. And like that was the way for me to kind of free my mind, I could take that shape and I could bend it and add to it, and like features of whatever I wanted to do. Yeah, so from sculpture, I was apprentice for Lotte Botscher. He's a German glass artist, and that's where I learned a lot more about glass. Like I learned about glass polishing, how to work with the material, how to sort of, it's so similar to steel that it doesn't, like if you look at steel and glass, it won't actually match, but it's so related, and all the processes that goes with it. After Lotte, I actually started apprenticing for Johan Orkia, that was at Dionysus Sculpture Studios, and where I got exposed to even bigger things like public sculptures and bronze. I started working with bronze, and also like any metal material, just that from a liquid state to manifesting in the solid state, something just triggers in my brain about that. And then I went on to apprentice under Guy du Toit, who does large scale bronze sculptures. And yeah, I also went through a very traumatic experience in my life. And at that point, when I was working with Guy, I was actually dealing with a lot of emotional things. And I actually contacted my aunt at that point, and I said to her, listen, I'm really battling. And you know, she offered a space, a haven for me to actually deal with these things. And it was actually moving to Johannesburg at that point, where in my aunt's house, where where I met this one lady who, she's kind of like a psychologist, but not really. She works more with the neuroscientific elements of it. And I really dedicated myself to the program and got to know, and I fell in love with the brain, how the brain works, how our neurons and our bodies just engages with what we're going through. And I started healing from that point. Also from living with my aunt, I actually discovered, like, I went into a kitchen and I started like making my own clay. And I would take this clay and I would go to restaurants and I would just like sit and I'd start sculpting people's faces. Until I got to actually a good point where I could limit myself to 30 minutes. And really by doing that, engaging with society, it formed actually part of this healing experience. It was at that point where I kind of, you know, decided, I'm going to go back to studies. I'm going to finish my degree in fine arts, which I did. And yeah, like I had so many, I just created, I manifested so many things in my life from that process that, yeah, I'm happy.
So Sku says to you, amazing of the things that inspires us. Bridget fell in love with glass and steel. I guess we all have to free our minds in order to broaden our imaginations. And that's so true.
Yeah.
So
Thanks.
what was it like listening to Andy's story? Because you are partnered up with Andy, right? So what was it like? You know, there's one thing where you as an artist have thoughts and, you know, you go through your process and you want to express. But now you're hearing someone else's story, right? And now you have to express that. What was that process like for you?
It was great. Like I actually gave Andy a little bit of a twist. I told her that she must bring me 2 objects that she really resonated with.
Okay.
And you know, when she presented me with these objects, you know, and it was from her children, 2 children. I realized at that point, because I then placed it onto the table while she was telling her story. And what a story. I mean, like as she was telling me her story, like I just got visuals from how she actually overcome from her experience in life, which was also a very traumatic experience, but how she broke through from that, and how the achievements that she's actually gained from you know, letting herself be who she is. It just sort of amazed me, you know. And I could really feel like that sense of like soulfulness within her. And literally the artwork that I'm busy making actually came from the vision that I saw while having that conversation with her. And it was only actually because then what I said to her is, okay, so it was very personal objects that she gave to me. And I said, okay, well, you know what, I asked her, can I keep these objects just for the duration of this time? And actually, I actually learned so much from her, because she let the objects go, but there was as the days went on, like I could start feeling that tenseness, you know, that sort of like protection. Like she's such a protective mother, you know,
Yeah.
and like there was actually this sort of boundary that she had to deal with, you know, like.
You spot
And-
on. I mean, I know Andy, so you spot on, and that's who she is, right?
And that's
Uh,
objects, you know, objects
Yeah.
just, we have to learn how our emotions and our objects relate with how we deal with life. Yeah.
So I don't. You guys haven't met Kimmy, right? So she's the artist that Shelley is doing her painting with, right? And Kimmy is a numerologist. She works with numbers, the stars, the moons,
Okay.
and all sorts of things. Kimmy is quite fascinating, and she says on the chat now, right? I'm going to read it to you. She says, "It would be so amazing for me to do all the numerology of these incredible artist minds. Such a gift. I've hardly been able to draw anything but a baby elephant my whole life. I think it's amazing to be able to draw and to sculpt." Oh, Kimmy's funny. Yeah, so and you spot on, right? Absolutely spot on. Well, yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing the creation, you know, that you have sculpted for Andy. Guys, if you want to know about Andy's story and Bridget's story, the journal got released today. Today is the 14th. The journal is focused on the open mic, the exhibition itself. So please have a look. The stories of the artists and the storytellers are there so that you guys can see it as well. So please have a look to get some more information. And hopefully you guys join us. I mean, tickets are only 100 Rand, guys. You know, come and join us and come and support South African artists and storytellers. Thank you so much, Bridge. Any final departing words?
Oh, I look forward to actually having the event and like seeing like this whole thing just unfold. Yeah.
You see, again, it's in my mind, right? It's in my mind. It needs to come out, right? You know, when I tell that to my kids and I walk into the room and I tell them, I have an idea. And the two of them just stop doing what they're doing, says, oh, Mom, let us have it. You know, let us have it. You know, they just wait for me. So yeah. So it's hard because it's something to express, and I'm the same as well. But thank you so much, Bridget. Really looking forward to see what you create on the 28th. Natasha, so Natasha is my artist and has been working closely with me. Before Bridget and Imbongeni and Shirley got on board, Natasha was actually the first person, the first artist that came through, and you know, we started collaborating, and Natasha and I said, okay, let's do this. So Natasha, I'm gonna give it over to yourself.
Everybody else gets a question and I get thrown in the deep end.
No. You got questions, don't worry. You got questions, don't worry.
So for me, look, it was super exciting to join us with Shreshni. I think on our first video call, it was just clicked. It was just friendship. It just bling.
Yeah,
like in the cartoons, the little hearts pop up. It was exactly that feeling. And I think when you shared the vision or the idea with me at the time, I had to jump on board because a big part of art for me is telling that story, whether it's a memory, whether it's an emotion, whether it's a moment or something that grabs you. Art is all about storytelling. It's just purely visual.
Yeah.
And so I had to grab onto that. And the more that we spoke and the more that I learned about Shreshni, there were so many parts of your story that I find resonated so well with me and resonated so well with my experiences. So I'm honored to be doing the founder of the foundation's artwork. It has been a journey, and I think we've both been through so much where I think the vision's changed 4 or 5 or 6 times as we've gone along, and we finally went, yes, this is it, and we knew that moment. So this foundation, I think, means a lot to me, purely for the stories it tells and for the fact that I've been in art my entire life. My dad was a jeweler. My whole family's been creative. I love my mom to bits. She's that spiritual, colorful, creative personality. And so I grew up in art. I knew, I think from age 11, that it was already, I'm an artist, done. That's who I am. That's what I want to be. So I was lucky enough to have my family that supported me. I studied at NSA. Rich, I'm sure you know what that is. So I did the whole NSA vibe. I qualified with an N3, and then reality kind of struck. That whole starving artist at that point in time hit home. So I did what every other person did, and I jumped into graphic design, which was fun, but it was soul destroying kind of in the same breath.
Mm-hmm.
So I jumped from graphic design to so many different places doing marketing, but my heart always kind of chased me back to art. So I was sculpting, I was painting all in my own time. And then I started working at galleries. And in the past 3 years, I jumped in and I opened my own company, which was doing art consulting and a lot of interior decor. And with that, I found that became a tool for me when it came to art, because I started doing a lot of residential art installations, a lot of public art installations. And that's what brought me home to who I am, was all of those different kinds of art installations and being able to meet these people and being to create these visions, which really did a lot for me. And over and above that, I went into art therapy. So if it's art, I'm in there, whatever it is, from teaching art to art therapy to doing my own art to industrial installations, I'm all over. And that's why I'm happy. I think a 9 to 5 for us creatives does do a little bit of damage because we're not being who we know we are. And I think that's been my happy space on a whole new level.
Yeah, no, definitely. But I know we didn't post the piece that you've done, but we have put it into the article at the end, because we had is it Big Ideas, right?
Yes, so I was lucky enough to use, I'm fascinated by 3D printing because it's got so few boundaries. So I was lucky enough to work with Oliver Hay from Big Ideas 3D Printing, who helped me a lot with my vision and kind of was generous enough to sponsor the structure of my piece, which is, if I may say, am I allowed to say? Should I say?
Yeah, sure, go for it.
Which is a 1.6 meter life-size tiger, which is a whole new level of art for me. Obviously, we'll be doing a lot more to it, but thank you very much to Big Ideas 3D Printing for sponsoring that for us.
Yeah, that was a huge sponsorship from him and to Oliver, hence why the sponsorship article was posted in there as well. So Imbongeni is not joining us. So what I am going to do, guys, I'm going to wrap our call up and then I'm going to get onto another call with him. He can't seem to get on. I think there's something going on with him. But what I'm going to do is finish up our talk and then get onto another talk with him and give him the space, that he needs as well. We have somebody here, Janine. I think I'm saying this name right, guys. If there's one thing one thing that I can't do is names. I suck at names. Yes, I said that on live. I suck at names. So my apologies for that. I'm like so bad. Welcome, Janine. Storytelling is so powerful, especially with building relationships and synergies amongst each other. Love your story, Natasha. Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree with you, Janine. The foundation is based on, storytelling and what we need to do in the sense of our own stories. And I truly believe our stories hold our wisdoms and our experiences. And sometimes we need to listen to ourselves more than actually look outside into the world in order to understand ourselves a bit better as well. One of the things that I wrote about the exhibition that's in the article itself as well, stories are the architect of culture. If you think about it, it's literally the architecture, it's the architect of our culture. If we change our stories, we change culture. Okay. And we are in such a space right now in the sense that We are always seeking for something. We're always wanting something. And everybody talks about change and how we need to change culture, whether it's in organizations, whether it's in cities, whether it's in countries. You know, how do we change cultures? And to change cultures, you have to change belief systems. If you have to change your belief system, you actually have to change who you are. And you have to not take the status quo that what you were imprinted or born with, right? Because the belief systems that we grow up with is taught to us, right? And we don't challenge that, right? And because we don't challenge that, we accept it, right? Kimmy said something to me very interesting the other day. There's no such thing as right and wrong. You know, we are taught this is right and this is wrong, right? We all got taught that by our parents, right? Yeah. But it's their belief of what is right and what is wrong, right? It's what they've been taught. And Kimmy said to me, but it's about how you feel. So if I'm doing something, how does that make me feel? Does that make me feel good? Or does that make me feel bad? So I was like, Now that is a total different behavior, mindset, culture, right? And in order to change that type of perception, it's about literally changing your beliefs. What do you believe? Not what you've been told to believe in, which is very different.
Those are wise words.
But is it not true, right?
Absolutely.
Because what we are born with and what we are taught, I mean, Tsepo, in the African culture, I can speak from the Indian culture, we have all of these prayers, ceremonies, traditional weddings, the languages that we speak, this whole stuff that we have to conform to, okay? And as soon as you question that, it's like, okay, how does it make me feel? Versus, is it right or is it wrong? And I challenge people to that because I kind of do that, right? I challenge people because, and that's why I say, you know, who are we today? Do we truly live the life that we want to live through authenticity, through our truth that we have? Do we truly live that way? I think, you know, I could be mistaken by saying this, right? I think 80% of the world don't live that way.
I think a lot of people are, sorry, Bridget, a lot of people, when it comes to right and wrong, we kind of conform to what society believes. Absolutely. This is appropriate in our society. This is inappropriate in our society.
It's what our society wants to see and hear, right? Yeah. Bridge?
Yeah, so like my spiritual teacher, Vashni, she actually, yesterday we talked about core belief systems, you know, and our attitudes toward it, you know, like we form these core beliefs and it's actually fear that gets us into a whole big of a mess, you know, but really fears teach us a lot. Like we need challenges in life. We need that person that's going to push us. We need that person that's going to make us feel good. We need people to progress, you know, and we need to understand ourselves, not just physically, but also, you know, how we are, how we process our emotions and our mental mind.
And that's what the foundation stands for in essence, right? And hopefully through expression of who we truly are, these are some of the ways that we try to help people to understand the culture that we sit in, the culture that we believe in, and to question what we are believing in right now. Because for me, it's that stop accepting, change it. Go Tsepo.
I think for me, like I've lived by something that I came up, I think during grade 10, it was, you know, why can't we build each other when society is trying to kill us? We try to wear the expectations. We try to wear society, but the expectations don't fit us. So in that sense is that, you know, sometimes we are pressured by choice without really knowing or coming to par with our true selves. So
it's a lot of fear-based, definitely a lot of fear-based for sure. Guys, any final words from you guys? I'm so looking forward to the exhibition on the 28th. Guys, if you're looking for tickets, you can get onto, the Open Mic Foundation. The tickets are there. You can purchase your tickets there. There's manual payments. There's also PayPal. Kimmy has Bridget. I love what Bridget said earlier. My heart chased me back to art. When you feel good, you can bring so much more light to the other person. When we're unhappy, we feel bad and we can't really do any good in the world. This can be a new religion, so to speak. See? Create your own, guys.
Create your own reality.
Yes.
See? I know, right? I know. It's so true. And I think we should be creating our own reality. We should be creating the life that we want to live and not the life that we are supposed to be living, in the sense of through other people's lenses or through society or through religion or through culture.
I think that's so true, especially when you look at, I've known a lot of people to kind of stereotype creatives where we get told, oh, we live in our own bubbles. I don't know if the other creatives
I get told that all the time. I get told that all the time.
You're in your own bubble. You live in your own world. You're so forgetful. And half the time I'm going, because I'm in my own little wonderland over here. So this isn't focusing me right now.
Yeah. And I also think as well, there is people that are meant to be in corporate. There's people that are meant to be, solopreneurs. There are people that are meant to be, entrepreneurs. They are just people. Yeah. Tepo. Tepo. Kimmy wants to hear a poem from you.
Whoa.
Yes.
Kimmy, I must say, when I heard Tepo speaking and saying his poem, oh wow. I had to give him a call and ask him, this is deep. Where did you get this from? I was like, you want to recite? Do you have something to recite?
Let me just give me like 2 minutes to find my file. There's a lot of stuff in it.
Not something too long, okay? Something just a bit shorter. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Okay. Look for something quickly.
No pressure.
I didn't realize how deep one can go with poetry. And when he spoke, and if you guys have a look at the previous journal, his poem is there. And I picked up the phone and I spoke to him and I asked him, did you experience this? And I was shocked at what came out of him, because I don't know, sometimes for me, poetry is about what you experience and maybe things around you, whether it's, through family, through friends, and, you experienced it. And I was amazed at the words and how deep he went. I think Rudo, which is the comm specialist in the foundation, Rudo as well, she was actually quite shocked, and we were really, taken by him in terms of his poetry. In fact, he went on live on Instagram on Wednesday night and he recited 2 poems there, and the youth just went wild with him because he spoke about love.
Wow.
And coming from a guy's perspective, and to be that was, Are you ready?
One. It's probably short. Yeah, it's probably,
Okay. Kimmy,
right.
I hope you're watching and listening. Go for it.
All right. So this is called Self-Worth. It says, we're too quick at putting judgments that we hide behind the assumptions. Instead of taking a new perspective, I want to take an introspective. I hope I get this message across, that your hearts are receptive, then rejected. You try to find your source of identity, but the world will focus on your popularity. Let me give you the clarity. I keep it honest to being, and staying true is part of my remedy. I know that you've probably been ridiculed. They'll probably call you a loser because you were never cool. You were angry or upset to turn the other cheek while others were cruel. You have trouble with your self-esteem. You're afraid what your friends may say, or trends that come what may. You're feeling a bit insecure. I may not know your feeling, but I'm positive I'll get across it, I'm for sure. You want to feel accepted while losing yourself, while your self-worth is being rejected. In my own life, there's certain things I've reflected. I know you're afraid of people's perceptions. They show you that puffing and passing and drinking is the best experience, but it never tells you the worst appearance. Know your worth and never feel alone, because God hears your hearts and feels, and your feelings are incoherent. Have you ever felt the words of others truly hurt your heart? Sometimes you may feel discouraged. I hope and pray you keep your head high and have some courage. You're a blessing, never a curse. Know your divine worth on earth. They may tell you what shoes or makeup or hair or what's the best t-shirt to wear. Most of my childhood, I felt insecure, so I kept my emotions reserved. I wish I could have been myself and never left myself tossed and turned. We let others take power over us through their opinions and words. I know people lost hope in their existence. They feel helpless inside as if their hearts are distant.
Wow.
Nice.
That's it.
Kimmy? Oh wait, she's got something for you. Hold on.
All right.
Incredible this week, my healer is giving me
Kinesiology.
Yeah, in terms of self-worth. Wow, Tepo, you are truly guided to give me this poem today. I am so glad I asked this. Love this, love it. Can't wait to meet you. Awesome. Thank you so much.
No problem.
Beautiful. It's really, really beautiful. Thank you
Cool.
so much for that. I did. His poems are so deep. And the first thing I asked him is, how old are you? I'm honest. I actually asked him, how old are you? Because to write that deep and talk about certain things, you have to experience, certain outlooks in life. And it was it's a lot. Yeah. So Lynette says, hi, Lynette. She says, beautiful, well done. Yes, Tepo.
Oh, I was just saying, like, I keep these like quite a lot. Like I have like 4 files. So I just write and then store as much as I can.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much. Guys, tickets are 100 Rand. Get onto the Open Mic Foundation's website. It's on the 28th. It's on the 28th of March. Come and have a cup of coffee with us, celebrate with us, and also, meet the team, meet the people, and get to know, Open Mic. It's going to be really an exciting adventure there, absolutely, with all of these artists. Meet the storytellers and just come and talk to us and network with us. There's a lot of people have booked, so those that have booked, thank you so much for supporting the foundation and believing in us, and more especially believing in this idea I had 6 months ago, right? I mean, wow. Guys, I'm coming live with Imbongeni now in the next 5 minutes. Actually, not 5 minutes, probably 3 minutes. Imbongeni, I see he's on. So I'm going to come live with him for him to share his story. So stay tuned, those that are online. And I just want to say thank you guys so much. And let's see you guys on the 28th of March.
Cool.
Cool.
Thank you guys so much. Have a great afternoon.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Yes, guys. Bye.